What we're worried about is that these Brazilian neo-Nazis who are going to get combat training in the Ukraine from Ukrainian Nazis are going to come back and try to start race wars here. For the last several years, at least since 2015, we know that hundreds of Brazilian neo-Nazis have traveled to Ukraine to fight with groups like Azov in the Donbas region and to receive some kind of political formation on issues such as how to start race wars and things like that. We know this because in 2016, the civil police in Rio Grande do Sul state uncovered an operation involving representatives from Misanthropic Division, which is a European neo-Nazi group, who were recruiting Brazilian neo-Nazis in 7 different cities in that state to fight in the Donbas region with Azov. So there's this history that's been going on for a couple of years, and this was covered in even the Israeli press as well as the Brazilian national press. One of the reasons Brazilian neo-Nazis are so interested in the Ukraine is because starting in around 2012, a group of people on the far right, led by a woman named Sarah Giannini, who changed her name to Sarah Winter to honor the famous British fascist from the 1920s and 1930s, there's been this entire campaign to Ukrainize Brazil, as they call it. In other words, all of the neo-Nazi groups in Brazil are importing symbolism and the black sun and things like that from the Azov regiment. There's been this campaign among certain members of the far right, including Sarah Giannini, the former leader of Brazil Femin, who started traveling to Ukraine in around 2011, and Congressman Daniel Silveira, to Ukrainize Brazil. And what this means is to start incorporating ideology from groups like Azov into the public politics of Brazil through changes in legislation and legalization of all guns, elimination of all laws against racism, elimination of laws against Nazism, and that this ideology has a certain level of attraction for disenfranchised young people, as it did in Germany in the 1920s and 1930s. It's easy for elites to try and scapegoat other groups of people who can be categorized as subhuman for social and economic problems caused by their own policies. The number of neo-Nazi groups in Brazil has increased by 270% since Jair Bolsonaro took power in 2019. And one of the reasons this is happening is clearly because he enables them. He himself is someone who wrote letters to neo-Nazi websites in 2002 and 2003, thanking them and saying things like, "You guys are the reason I'm in politics." On another occasion on TV, he said that he would have fought with Hitler's army with the greatest pleasure if he was alive during that period. So he's someone himself who has fascist tendencies, fascist sympathies. He's talked about killing all of the communists in Brazil. When he talks about legalizing guns so that people can kill communists, this is a dog whistle to neo-Nazi groups. And it's a sign that they're not going to be prosecuted as much as they would have been prosecuted in the past. Last week, City Councilman Leonel Radi in Porto Alegre received yet another series of death threats by Nazis. They gave a time and a date in which they're planning to kill him, October 31st, 2022. And they also said they're going to kill Lula on that date. And they included with the threats a video of a black Brazilian woman being lynched. We know they're threatening all of the black women city councilors who've just been elected in the last municipal elections. Most of these new black women city councilors, in some cases, are the first time in the history of their city, like in Curitiba, that they've ever elected a black woman city councilor. They've been receiving death threats from Nazis since before they even took office. And so what we're worried about is that these Brazilian neo-Nazis who are going to get combat training in the Ukraine from Ukrainian Nazis are going to come back and try to start race wars here.